Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report on Channels Television. Today, we bring you what an isolation center in Kano looks like. While the Bakassi story lingers, respite from the state government comes the way of some of the stranded displaced people. Also, how are the elderly coping? We'll bring you an insight from Enugu. I'm Chris Elams. Welcome to the show. It's been 18 years since Bakassi internally displaced persons lived in squalor and abject poverty following the ceding of Bakassi to the Republic of Cameroon. On several occasions, the government promised resettling them, but it was one of those rhetorics often bandied to keep conversations short and shut down. Well, life appears to be taking a new twist for them as the state government rises up to the occasion. Now, some of them have better roofs over their heads. The fully furnished two-bedroom housing unit is to serve as a reprieve to the refugees who since 2013 have lived in a primary school in AKOBI, local government area of the state. Join us. The story of the displaced Bakassi people can be likened to a sorry case of citizens who became refugees in their fatherland. For years, and through no fault of theirs, they've lived in circumstances unbefitting to any human being. They have lived in this school in AKOBI, local government area of Cross River State, since 2013, awaiting the full implementation of the Grain Tree Agreement, a formal treaty which resolved the Cameroon-Nigeria border dispute over the oil and natural gas-rich Bakassi Peninsula, which is yet to be ratified. This was meant to bring some respite their way.
Since 2014, there is no relief material for our mothers and our children. 2014, there is no education for us again. 2014, there is no school for us again. They promised us to give us a conditional cash transfer for our elderly who want to use it and sustain their living. All this promise is foul.
During his first term in office, Governor AYADE met with the refugees, sharing with them his intentions to get them out of their predicament.
We'll solve your problem. We will solve the problem. Amen. And that's why I've gone around the world looking for people who can partner with me to provide homes for all of you.
And Channels Television kept tabs on development there on a regular basis. Just when hope seems dim, the sun rises again for them 7 years after, as the state presents them with these housing units. It's a dream come true for the governor, who has nursed the idea of giving these people a better life and a sense of belonging.
Today, I feel a sense of fulfillment having been here to see my son, my daughter, my mother, my uncle, my auntie living in a clustered accommodation of a primary school with mosquitoes feasting on them, with no place to farm, no place to lay their head. But today, by the grace of God, by the instrumentality of the Holy Ghost, we are here gathered to celebrate a maximum of opportunity where people will be living in a world-class estate. I could see a grandman dancing to her new home. I could see the hope. I could see that her grandchild would have a feeling that truly, truly African leadership cares. You don't give because you have enough, but because you care enough. But because we care, even from the nothing the state has, we must demonstrate the empathy and the show of love and concern for our brothers.
The governor reminds President Muhammadu Buhari to extend the dividend of democracy to the Bakassi people, whom he says have suffered untold neglect.
Mr. President, let it be on record that we have IDPs in Bakassi long before we have IDPs in other parts of the country. Mr. President, we know you as a man of good conscience. The people of Bakassi have not had a fair share of the treatment meted on other IDPs.
The Urban of Calabar, in company of a prominent Bakassi indigene, Senator Florence ITA-GIWA, supervised the handing over all the keys to the buildings to the beneficiaries. They both used the occasion to make several demands from the federal government as it concerns the Bakassi IDPs.
We've been talking about resettlement, and I think the country have experienced so many problems, and there are so many IDP camps all over the country, and they know exactly what they are planning. So this time around, their plight or whatever they are planning should equally include the people of Bakassi that have been relocated for a very long time and have been suffering for a long time.
And I want to call on the federal government, as he has said, because today I stood up like a young girl jumping when he was talking. It's about time you come and listen to the plea of the Bakassi people. It's about time you come and now join hands with this governor, because the governor did not sit Bakassi. It's the federal government and the international community. But it's taken upon himself to carry the burden. Please let the federal government come and share or carry the burden with him. That's all I have to say. Relocate us to where we vote and voted for. Day Spring, we have land there. Go and build it so that our traditional rulers, everybody will have where to rest.
The new house owners say they are grateful for the gesture, even as others look forward to a day like this in their lives within the shortest possible time.
You are an honest man. Thank you. God bless you. As you wipe the tear of our mothers, as you wipe our tear, our bones, our fathers will rest in perfect peace. God bless you. Thank you for you standing by your truth. Irrespective of all the storm and confusion of all our leaders, but you stand by your word. God bless you.
An isolation center is not one place many people would ordinarily want to go to. They want to avoid by all means. Yet, there are a lot more who want to catch a glimpse of what one looks like and what the activities ongoing around there or within the locality. Now, only recently in Kano, our correspondent Idris Jibril had an eyewitness experience of one. And barely 48 hours after, the state government resolved to commence house-to-house sample collection across the 8 metropolitan local government areas.
Kano, one of the most populous states in Nigeria, has had its fair share of the COVID-19 pandemic. At the moment, it sits at second position on the COVID-19 confirmed cases log with over 900 confirmed cases. Kano for a long time presented very disturbing scenes despite a lockdown order by the state governor. At certain point, a viral video of a large gathering of persons watching a football tournament surfaced, casting doubt on how much the people actually believed in the existence of the virus. This was followed by reports of strange death recorded in different parts of the state. However, in the last 1 month, COVID-19 programs in Kano have become much more vibrant, with more testings done and 4 isolation centers built. In order to have a first-hand experience of activities at the isolation centers, Channels Television visited the Muhammadu Buhari Isolation Center in Giginyu. To access the facility, we needed to observe all safety precautions as prescribed by the head of the medical team. No one is allowed beyond this point without kitting up properly. Though I was scared of the outcome of this visit, the presence of these frontline workers inspired some confidence in me and my team. After the index case was identified back in April, we made several attempts to gain access to this place that were turned down.
If you look at the demarcation, it has a view. This is where we look at our face to make sure that everything is fine. Then before we go in, this is the entrance to the main isolation center. Let's go. If you are safe, please, can we go in?
Our visit will help us ascertain the living condition of the patient, healthcare facilities, and more importantly, hope they would willingly share with us their experience. The isolation center manager shows us around the facility.
You can make a call and talk to our nurses or a doctor, and they'll come up for you.
Due to its cosmopolitan nature, Kano has continued to record positive cases at an alarming rate, with many residents still skeptical of the existence of the virus pandemic despite various sensitization programs.
COVID-19 is real, and most people out there who do not believe it's just because of a personal interest, not the national interest. Everybody wants to, because of the level at which they believe it is poverty, but not poverty, it's lack of knowledge. They will feel we have to go and work and make some ends meet, that the government is here by trying to make some money. But I keep telling people that you think it is easy for the government to lock down the whole country? They're losing a lot of money every day. So how much do they want to get from the World Health Organization that could equate the amount of money they're losing daily? So COVID-19 is actually very, very real, and it is different from the one we have in the UK because of the weather. Our weather here does not really favor it to infect us the way it's infecting them there.
Interestingly, for these female patients who would not allow her identity displayed, her doubts about the disease was cleared after she was diagnosed as having contracted it.
Alhamdulillah, I am fine, I am fine, I am fine. The headache is just mine now. Then the body pain has stopped. Then what is the remaining now is just once in a while I feel the pain and all that. But alhamdulillah, all those sweat, difficulty in breathing, my taste came back, everything.
And you're taking your drugs?
I'm taking my drugs, and I think the people here, they are God sent. That is what all I will say.
I am advising people in Kano State, government are trying to improve our health and our community in the same time. So I would like this opportunity to arouse the interest of our Kano State people. They should try as much as possible in order to bring themselves to the burial center that are doing this kind of test in order to stay in an isolation center for 2 weeks.
While Kano may have started off very slowly, the chief medical director of the hospital says a significant improvement has been recorded in recent times.
The general situation is that COVID-19 is now stabilizing in Kano State. We tend to have a plateau in, should I say, in the number of cases that we are having, unlike before. And so far, we have been trying to do our best to manage those patients that we have, and we have discharged a lot of them within the last 2-3 weeks. At the moment, we have about 17 patients. So far, 3 days ago, we discharged about 54 patients. The total capacity of the center is about 80. So basically, we have discharged a lot of them. So now we are waiting for more patients to be brought in to the isolation center.
While Kano has tested over 5,000 samples with over 900 confirmed cases, the governor bemoans the compliance level of the people and feels they are yet to come to terms with reality as the figures continue to rise.
Even took time for some people to believe that the disease is a reality. It's just like polio. Polio took a lot of time before people could even agree that polio was a reality, even though children were getting infected. Even the vaccine was controversial because of religion, because of culture. For some time, even some people believed that even the vaccines were a kind of, strategy to limit increase in population. So you can see that the tradition and culture is an issue that we have to fight at the same time.
So these are military words. Okay. Each word we have ACs.
Although the recent mysterious death recorded in the state is still unclear on whether it's COVID-19 related, but authorities confirm that investigation is still ongoing to know the real cause behind the mass death.
The COVID-19 pandemic is impacting the global population in drastic ways, and the challenges of the pandemic are different for various social demographic groups. Now, according to the reports by World Health Organization, older adults are more at risk of COVID-19 complications and death, where are likely underlying conditions such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or respiratory illness exist. In Enugu State, although the number of confirmed cases is still under 50, the Home for the Elderly is not only worried about how to protect the older people in their care, but also to have access to basic necessities to keep them going. Our Lady of Perpetual Home for the Elderly, established in 1975 with a carrying capacity of 50 people. Since then, it has catered for old people of various categories, those who are family members and others who don't. The facility, managed by missionaries and volunteers, has kept its doors open to visitors who want to share in their activities. However, since the COVID-19 pandemic, this once-upon-a-time home for all has gone quieter. Usually, people could walk in through the gate easily, but that has been replaced with a phone number hanging on this locked gate for any well-wisher who wants to reach out to them. The elderly are seen at the garden in small groups, chatting and singing, with some leaving staff, while others enjoy a walk around the compound with some of the Reverend Sisters. Mr. PASCHAL is one of the elderly. He barely sees. He shakes his head severally in dismay, narrating his new lifestyle through the window.
No more visitors, both coming in and going out. Since this COVID-19, formerly doctor used to come for checkup, to check us up. And since this COVID-19, doctor had not come.
Reverend Father Jude Mary is not aware of the new policy. He has come from Anambra State to visit the elders, but he had to go back. A new reality occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic.
I'm not disappointed because of their policy, because protection for the old people, So when they told me, I said, that's okay. What they are doing is right. Other institutions should emulate them so that to protect the old people who are so vulnerable.
The policy is different for those who have their people in here. Mary CHIWETALU is one of them. The one-time huge hugs with her mom has turned to a window conversation.
You can see their number there. When you call, they tell you that you shouldn't come because of that thing. because of COVID-19, then we have to stay. I've been calling on phone. I call the staff will give her phone, then I will discuss with her. They told me to come on 1st of May. They told me to come and see her through the window, which I did. Today, the same thing. Anytime she sees me, he becomes so happy. By the time I came, she was so weak. But when I start discussing with her, I see energy in her. Yes, she feels so happy to see. And I'm equally myself. I feel so happy to see her.
The Reverend Sister in charge of the home gives us a rundown of all the efforts they've put in place to keep the virus away.
Beginning of April, we decided, listen, no more visitors. Actually, we decided that 2 weeks before, but by the beginning of April, we decided to lock down completely and asked members of staff to live in with us. So we selected those that don't have small children and those whose children are older and asked for volunteers in that group. And they came in and lived with us. Then our driver and gardener stayed somewhat in between. And everybody else was on annual leave. At the end of the month, we thought, this thing is going on, what do we do now? So we invited some of the staff to come back, and we kept them in quarantine at the front of the house for 14 days. And then they have relieved some of the people that were inside and gone off on leave. Since then, they have come back. And now we've approached NCDC to help us, because with this quarantine and keeping people in the front of the house is not really adequate and is too long. So we asked them for testing, because our people inside are vulnerable and we want to keep an ordinary family atmosphere, life going on inside. And at the same time, we want them protected.
For the staff here, taking the COVID-19 test is vital. And Tochi David is a nurse and one of those who have gone through the test.
We've been here since then, so we somehow, not going home and something like that, but we are just trying to manage. In regards to the medical care, everything is just like moving the same. Just that we've not been having doctors that used to come, What we now do is we call them on phone, give the complaints, and they now give the instruction. The medical care is moving smoothly. Like up to 2 months now, the outbreak. So we took a section of the workers to be inside the home. So now we are not trying to, those ones that are inside, we want to leave them to go home, and the new ones coming. So we actually go for the test at the isolation center here at Sparkling. So we are now awaiting for the results. Once the result comes out, if they are negative, we welcome them in. Then those ones that are in, we now maybe leave them to maybe take a break.
To make up for old times, these young men are creating garden box for the elderly to plant flowers and vegetables. But the major worry, according to Sister Sylvia, is replacing some of the daily supplies for these old people.
We have to try to replace what they had before. We had a lot of, let's start from the beginning, we had a lot of different groups that were coming to animate them. Now these groups cannot come in for the moment, but now all the things that you see there we really need. Like, why do we need kitchen rolls? It's because we use it when people wash their hands here and things like that. So obviously the diapers are really needed. Then different disinfectants and everything else we use a lot. And then we have different things like the oats. The old people, especially because we have a lot of people who have diabetes and other diseases, they take oats for breakfast, not always wheat bread. But you see wheat flour there as well. Wheat because it's another thing to give them instead of semmel. It's another swallow which is also good for them.
As they hope for help from above, there is need to ensure that all older persons at risk of contracting COVID-19, especially those with underlying health conditions and living alone, are identified and attended to as early as possible. You can always be part of Eyewitness Report on Channels Television by simply letting us into what's happening around you. Just send in your shot to the Eyewitness portal on the Channels TV app, which you can download from various app stores. Launch and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu. Follow instructions on how to upload your stories. Just ensure you add all the contact information needed so we can get in touch with you. Let's see what you already posted for the week. This video shows construction has returned to OJOTA in Lagos since it was stopped due to the lockdown. Now, while some feel the lockdown was the best time to have done the job, others are hopeful the work is completed this time around. Meanwhile, further down Mile 12, traffic builds up daily as a result of bad spots at various sections of the road. This is impacting the travel time from Ikorodu negatively as commuters now spend hours on the road. This set of videos show what an eyewitness tags an eyesore and our health hazards being hushed by some unscrupulous elements who decide to take on an unwholesome venture of refilling dispenser water bottles from a public water source. Our eyewitness who was able to get the vehicle's number plate, which is LSR 513XX, says the water vendors were so brazen with their act and didn't give a hoot about his presence. He wants the compound at Isheri investigated, consumers put on high alerts, and NAFDAC alongside the water producers notified. Next is this image of disposables and plastic PET bottles in a canal after downpour in Surulere. Our eyewitness wants all the canals in the area sorted out, especially now that it rains. Those are your photos. Do keep them coming. Next week, we hopefully will be here for more stories. Till then, I'll keep my eyes on you.